Greetings everyone, welcome to World of Fusion 360. In this video we're gonna generate design for this hub mount. Before getting started, I just wanna give you some overview about this part. This is the part that we're gonna work for. It's a hub mount of automobile. Let me tell you the function of this part. The part you're seeing is the hub and axle assembly. This is the hub. This part inside of the hub is the axle. With the help of these 4 bolts, it will be attached to chassis of the automobile. And a wheel is attached on this side and it will rotate like this. We're gonna use this hub mount to mount on its axle. The power from main shaft is transmitted to this hub mount and then to this shaft and then to the wheels. We'll be having bolts on these 3 holes like this. One on here, one in here, and one on this side. We'll be having a similar mount on the other side through which the power transmits to hub. So if you observe here, we need 2 things in here. That is the part that holds the axle and these bolts in here. We're gonna use those constraints to generate the design for this hub mount. If you observe here, we need these holes that are must for our design and also the hole that holds the axle in place. If you observe here, we have little teeth that holds the axle and permits the motion from hub mount to axle. Also, we need to tell the generative design to not fill the material in here because we'll be having axle through this hole and we'll be having a nut on this side. We have to provide the clearance for nut and axle. Hope you got me. Alright. Now that you know some basics about this hub mount, let's dive into Fusion 360 and switch to generative design. This is the advanced tutorial. If you want some basic knowledge about the generative design, I highly recommend you to watch this video before watching this. You can find this video info in here or you can watch it through link in the description. To follow along, I recommend you to download this part through link in the description. Alright, let's edit the model. If you observe this model, we are having some fillets and chamfers. We just don't want those for this generative study. We can define those later after the generative design or while machining. I just want to get rid of those. In here, under modify, you have remove features. Just click on that. If you observe here, we can remove fillets, holes, chamfers, extrudes, revolves and other geometry. For now, I'm just gonna enable only fillet and chamfer. Just click on the body. It highlights all the fillets and chamfers. Just click delete in here. It just removed all the fillets and chamfers. Awesome. I'm gonna close remove features. We no longer have those fillets and chamfers. Perfect. I'm gonna create a new component under generative model 1. Then I'm gonna rename this component as preserves. If you observe here, we're having 4 holes. 3 on the bottom, 1 on the top. These 3 will hold the bolt and the one on the top will hold the shaft. We need to tell the software that you have to preserve these geometries. Thus, I'm gonna select these 3 faces on the bottom, hold Ctrl and select these 3 faces and press E on the keyboard. I'm gonna extrude these up to this face. Make sure that the operation is new body and click OK. Now that we got 3 preserved bodies for holding the bolts, we just need to define one more body for holding the shaft. Press E on the keyboard. I'm gonna select this face for my extrude profile and I want that profile to be extruded up to this face and make sure that the operation is new body. Perfect. Then click OK. Now that we got all our preserves, we then have to define the obstacles. We just don't have to create sketch and extrude those profiles. We have a wonderful option in Fusion 360 that can define the obstacles automatically. I'm gonna create a new component under generative model 1. Then I'm gonna rename it as obstacles. If you observe here, we have connector obstacles. Inside of this, we have start of the shaft, end of the shaft. I'm gonna select top edge of this face. If you observe here, it just generated a shaft through that hole, right? I'm gonna enable bolt head. Perfect. Then I'm gonna click OK to take that body as my connector obstacle. We can repeat this connector obstacles to these two holes also, but I don't want to repeat that. I just want to pattern that body. Inside create, select circular pattern. Make sure that the pattern type to be bodies and select this body as our object and the axis be Y. The preview looks good for me. I'm just gonna click OK. Perfect. Now that we got 3 obstacles, we just need to define one more obstacles for the shaft. Repeat connector obstacles once again, and I'm gonna select this top edge, and for the end shaft I'm gonna select edge on this side. Make sure that you select right edge. We have to select this edge, not this one. Enable bolt head. I'm gonna enable bolt head on both sides because shaft will be passing entirely through this hole. Thus, we just have to enable the bolt head on both sides. I'm gonna extend a little bit. Thus, it won't generate the material on just right on this body. Yeah, it looks good for me. I'm just gonna click OK. Now that we got all our connector obstacles and preserves, let's activate the top level assembly and see what we got. Let's hide all the entities except obstacles. We got our obstacles and preserves, and the rest of the body is still there, right? I'm gonna take a step ahead and I'm gonna define a starting shape. It will help generative design to define the shape from the existing shape. Thus, I just want to separate this body with these 3 and the top. We cannot tell the software that the entire body can be the starting shape. We just have to split this body from preserves. Because we have already defined the preserves from this body, we have to separate those bodies from this body. You got me right? Under modify, select split body. Select this as bodies to split, and the splitting tool be this face. Make sure that you enable extend splitting tools and then click OK. Under bodies, it created one more body. Body 1 and body 2. We no longer need body 2. I'm just gonna hide this body 2. I just have to do one more split, separating these 3 bodies that hold the bolt. Repeat the split body. Select the bodies to split. Let the splitting tool be this face. Make sure that the extend splitting tools be checked and click OK. Now that we got 3 more bodies separated, I'm just gonna hide all of those. We are left with the starting shape. This is our starting shape that we are gonna assign for generative design. Perfect. We just don't want these. I'm gonna select all of those by holding shift down on my keyboard. Then I'm gonna remove all those. We are now having a starting shape, preserves and obstacles. We are done with our edit model workspace. Finish the edit model workspace. Now we are in generative design workspace. We always have to move from left to right and top to bottom. We are done with editing model and we have to define the preserve geometry. If you don't want to see all extra bodies, hide those. Now we are seeing only the preserves. I'm going to select all 4 bodies and then I'm going to click OK to take those as my preserves. If you observe here, the selected bodies are represented in green. It means that must contain in our generated design. If you click on obstacle geometry, it highlights all those bodies that are obstacles. We haven't selected these, right? Then why generative design added those two obstacles? Think about this for a moment. Yeah, I think you got it. The things we have designed using connector obstacles will automatically add it to obstacle geometry. We no need to define again and again. It's time to define our loads and constraints. I'm gonna hide all my bodies except preserves. I want you to think about a moment and analyze the real case scenario for this hub mount. A shaft through this hole will be passing in y direction. For this face, a seal will be there, and on this face a nut will be there. Thinking about the shaft, if a shaft through this hole passes, it will be locked only in x and z direction. It is free to move in y direction. Select this face, select structural constraints or press C on the keyboard. I'm going to deselect UI and then I'm going to click OK. As I have said, a seal will be there on this side and a nut will be there on this side. Thus, it is locked in y direction, but it is free to move in x and z direction. Repeat the structural constraints. Select these two phases and I'm going to deselect UX and UZ. Perfect. Then we have to define the loads. Click on structural loads. Assume that the vehicle is in static condition. Thus, entire weight of the vehicle is going to be act on these mounts. There are 4 such mounts. We can get the weight for each mount by dividing 4. The weight of the vehicle is 1 ton. I'm going to select all these 3 phases. And then under magnitude, you can enter either expression or load directly. 250 kgs, converting it into newtons will give us 2500 approximately. Then I'm going to click OK. If you observe here, the arrows are indicated in reverse direction, but the gravity is in downward direction. We just have to correct these. Just double click on that to pop up edit structural load. I'm gonna rotate these about 180 degrees and making sure that the gravity and the loads acting on these phases are in same direction. Click OK to take that edit. Perfect. This is our static load case. Thus I'm gonna rename it as static. It's time to define the moment. What if the vehicle is moving? How the loads are going to act on this mount? For that we need torque of the vehicle. The torque generated by this vehicle is 21 Newton meter. Again, we have a problem here. We are not having a geometry connecting these 3 bodies. If we have those, we can select that phase and we can apply the torque directly. Also, we cannot apply that 21 Newton meter torque for each phase. It's gonna give us some conflicts. Thus, it is required for us to convert that torque into force. I'm gonna clone this static load case. Then I'm gonna activate that. If you expand loads, we have a force in here. If you click on edit, I'm gonna deselect all those 3 phases. I'm gonna select only one phase. Under magnitude, the torque generated by the vehicle is 21 Newton meters. We just have to convert that into force. In this case, I'm gonna enter the torque and I'm gonna divide that by center distance. That is the distance from this center to this center in meters. It is 0.04. Also, torque will be acting in clockwise direction. Thus, we have to set the orientation of this force. I'm going to change the orientation to 90 degrees. Then click OK to take that edit. If you observe here, under loads, we have created a force instead of moment. But that's okay. This is going to act as a moment. Similarly, we have to do this same step for these two phases. Click on structural loads, select this phase, and the force be 21 by 0.04. And I'm gonna change the direction of the force. Make sure that you orient in correct direction. Let the angle be 135 degrees. In this case, I'm gonna click OK. If you double click on that, the magnitude has converted that expression into a real value. I'm gonna simply copy this value. Repeat structural loads, select the phase, just paste the magnitude and change the orientation to 45 degrees. Perfect. Now that we have defined all our loads and constraints, I'm going to rename this load case as moment. We just forgot one thing under design space. If you expand design space, we have starting shape. Enable body 1. We have splitted this body to tell generative design that start from here, right? Just click on this body to define the starting shape, then click OK. If you enable that body, it changes to yellow color, right? Telling that the starting shape has been defined. Perfect. Moving forward, we have design objectives. Let's click on that. Under objectives, we have minimize mass, maximize stiffness. Minimize mass will reduce the mass until it gets the desired factor of safety. Again, you can define your factor of safety based on your design criteria. For this design, 2 is perfect. Let's see what we have under maximize stiffness. We can define factor of safety and the mass target. For this condition, I'm gonna choose minimize mass for this design. And then click OK. The manufacturing, we have production volume 2500 pieces. I'm gonna leave it as default. We have unrestricted method, which means that it won't consider any manufacturing criteria. It just generates the model based on the design objectives, structural loads, constraints, materials. That's all. It won't consider any manufacturing method. It has freedom to generate the design based on those only. Coming to additive, we can define the orientation. In this case, positive Y and negative Y works good. You can alter the overhang angle and minimum thickness. I'm gonna leave all those as defaults. Coming to milling, we have 3 axis, 2.5 axis, 5 axis. You can set as many configurations as you want. For 3 axis, I'm gonna include Y positive and Y negative. And also I'm gonna set 5 axis. We cannot define 2.5 axis because we have a geometry that is inclined. Thus 2.5 axis won't work for us. Also I'm gonna enable die casting. Let's see what we have under die casting. We have ejection direction, which means that the direction on which we eject the molds. I'm gonna leave all these defaults. And then we have minimum draft angle set to 3 degrees, minimum thickness set to 1.5 mm, maximum thickness set to 13 mm. Again, I'm gonna leave all these defaults and then I'm gonna click OK. Coming to materials, we can define materials for all the methods at a time, or we can define materials for each method. I recommend you to set the materials for each method. If you select all the methods, you can define only 7 materials for all the methods. You are not allowed to select more than 7 materials for all the methods. But if you set materials for individual methods, you can define 7 for each manufacturing method, thus generate more outcomes. It's not going to cost you more cloud credits if you add one more material. Thus, I recommend you to set the materials for each method individually. For unrestricted, the library is set to additive. Under metal, we have a bunch of materials. I want to add SS304, Inconel 718 plus, titanium, and we are not limited to these materials. If you expand material library, we have much more. If you click on Fusion 360 material library, it will bring all those materials which you want to define. Under metal, I'm gonna search for aluminum 6061. Here it is. Also, I'm gonna search for SS440C. Here it is. Now that I'm done with unrestricted, for additive, I'm gonna switch to additive material library. Then I'm gonna add SS304, titanium. Perfect. For milling, I'm gonna switch to Fusion 360 material library. Under metal, I'm gonna add titanium, aluminum 6061 is fine, and then I'm gonna add SS1006. For die casting, I'm gonna add nickel copper alloy, and then aluminum 6061. I'm done adding materials. I just want you to explore all the materials that we can manufacture using die casting, and you have freedom to add up to 7 materials. Now we have added only 4. Go ahead and add all those materials. It's gonna cost only 25 cloud credits even if you add 1 material. I'm gonna close study materials. Moving forward, we have a pre-check. It tells you that whether the study is ready to be generated or not. If it shows in yellow color, it means that you can generate the outcomes, but there are potential problems with the study. It's telling me that the milling head diameter is large comparing the model size. Thus, in the manufacturing method, under milling, we have head diameter, tool shoulder length, minimum tool diameter, right? These are too large for these design. I'm gonna reduce the head diameter to 25 and the tool shoulder length to 20. The minimum tool diameter be 8. If you observe here, the dia of this hole is 10 mm. Either you can select 10 or less than that, but you must not give more than that. Repeat the same for configuration 2. 25, 20, 8 mm for tool dia. Then I'm gonna click OK. Let's check again. If you observe here, that warning is gone. We are left with a warning called some bodies or components are hidden. If they are assigned obstacles, preserves, or starting shape geometry, they still participate in the outcome generation. But it means that you have hidden some bodies. It's just telling you that it won't affect the generative design. I'm gonna enable those. It turned to green check mark, telling that the study setup has all the information required and you are ready to generate the study. Before proceeding, I want you to take time to run the previewer before generating the actual outcome. Just click on that. Under settings, we have detail level. If you select medium or high, it's gonna take more time to show the preview of what it's gonna look like. Allow the software to generate the preview so that everything looks good and you are ready to go ahead. Let's hide all the bodies so that we can see only the preview. If you observe the preview, it just began with the starting shape and the preserves. Give it more time thus it can reduce the material based on your design constraints and loads. You can hide the load case to have a good preview. You can stop the preview here and you can generate the outcome, or you can continue until it ends. Yeah, the preview was successful. It means that it has no issues for generating this design. We can generate the design. It wants you to stop the previewer. I'm going to click S to stop the previewer. It automatically saves the design up to that point. Before generating the study, explore the case. I want you to clone the generative model. This study to be run without starting shape. I'm going to click edit model. I'm going to clone the generative model 1. Make sure that the study 1 is checked. Now we are having a generative model 2. I'm going to rename it as NS, which means that no starting shape. If you expand model components under hub mount, we're having a body. Right click on that body. I'm going to remove that body. Then I'm going to finish edit model. If you observe here, we are having a warning telling that starting shape body is missing, but that's okay. It won't be a problem for us. Activate the generative model 1. I'm going to rename it as S. It means that with starting shape. Just finish the model and click on generate. If you have a warning here for no starting shape, but that's okay. Just go ahead and check all those 2 studies. But if you have limited cloud credits, I recommend you to solve only the study with starting shape. Wait until the data is sent to cloud. Now that the data has been sent to cloud, you can start viewing the results from iteration 1, and you don't have to wait for the results. You can do your work, you can close the Fusion 360 and even your PC. It won't affect the generative outcomes. You can get back at any point of time when the generative outcomes are ready. We'll explore the results in part 2. I'm gonna upload that video in 3 days. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hit that like button if it helps you, and subscribe to World of Fusion 360 for getting notifications each time when we upload new video like this. Thank you so much guys. Have a good day. Bye bye.